Alright guys, we are 1 month into the SMMA challenge series. Before we get into this video, I want to say a serious thank you to everybody who's watched so far. I believe we're at 61 subscribers as of the time I'm filming this, and I really could not have expected so many of you guys to be interested in what I'm doing this early. So seriously, it means a lot, and it shows me that there's a lot of you guys who are interested more in people showing the real nature of running an SMMA, talking about the challenges and hurdles of what you're going to face. I feel like there's a big facade going around with 90% of SMMA creators where they pretend all you have to do is pick up a phone, make a couple cold calls, hook up with somebody on Upwork to get to do the work, and boom, you're rich. Well, guys, I want to be honest with you in that that's not really the reality if you want to do it right, in my opinion. But it is kind of a nice thing to sort of dream about, isn't it? So in this video, guys, I'm going to go through my expectations of what I thought the first month would be like, and then how the first month has gone. I think it's important before I do that for me to get into just briefly of what I had going on before I started my med spa marketing, just so you guys can understand why I had such high expectations for myself and why I still do have high expectations for myself. So once upon a time, I was an influencer many years ago, right? But ever since then, I've worked in influencer brand deals and influencer merchandise deals. So I've always been around social media advertising. I've also taken many courses on paid social media advertising. So when I saw this trend blowing up, I felt like it was something that I would be really naturally gravitated towards, and I am really naturally gravitated towards. However, I will admit, I did expect cold calls to go a little bit more smoothly than they really are. And what I mean by that is I thought I would sort of hop on here and not even need a script, right? I thought I would just hop on a call like I do with my sales calls, with my other stuff I do, and just be like, all right, yeah, so, you know, I run paid ads, blah, 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 right? And have it actually go my way, where in reality, no, I really did need a script, and that's something I had to learn the hard way at the start, and obviously now I do have a script. I'm going to go over what I'm using now in this video. But yeah, I really expected it to be relatively easy, when in reality, my God, it has not been. Since starting the series 1 month ago, personally, I've caught COVID, been out of commission for nearly 2 weeks, which is an excuse. I hate excuses. Reality, it did actually happen though. So that forced me to do a lot of email outreach, which I was a little bit optimistic would get at least some response. I've sent at least hundreds of emails to med spas, and I'll pause for a second so you can mentally guess how many responded. That's right, absolutely zero responded to the emails. But what I have learned to do through the cold calls I've started doing this week is use the emails I've sent previously to seed better results in my cold calling. So anytime I do a cold call, I always interject and I say, hey, I've actually emailed you last week, so this is me following up on that email. The reason I do that is I believe that it adds a little bit more of a personal touch, and it makes the person who I'm calling feel like I've already committed a little bit more time to them, and I'm not just reading off a leads list, calling 1,000,000 people in a day, and they don't mean anything to me. So I think that that has helped in my success ratio so far in cold calling, but I want to be very transparent in the fact that I was badly sick for the first 2 weeks of this challenge and coming off New Year's, so I've really only done 20 cold calls, and I have 4 meetings booked off of that. So I consider that a good ratio, but it's not enough data to really go off of. This whole next week and next 2 weeks really are going to be pretty much solely cold call based. I'm going to make another video based off of that. So I expect to get less of a percentage of people coming through meetings, but we'll also see how many of those meetings actually convert to sales. That's something that I'm going to be having through the next week here, so I'm hopefully going to film that as well. So we'll see. I hope to get at least one client here, but I really wouldn't be surprised if none of it follows through, because at the end of the day, any sales or outreach is really a numbers game, right? So there's few stages that people can drop off. You have your cold call, which is obviously initially reaching out to them. Then you have your sales meeting with them, which people can follow in between the cold call and the sales meeting. Then from sales meeting, you have actually selling them. Then you have to actually get them to sign and pay you. And then you have to get them to actually work with you month over month. So there's several stages at which clients can back out at, and you need to sort of be mentally prepared. The reality of outreach is a whole lot of rejection and fallout along those ways. But the way I've always looked at outreach is come up with the best method and best formula for myself, run it a bunch, and then just tweak it at every stage of the way to increase your percentages, and eventually you'll come out with results that you're really happy with. And again, like I said, having 4 meetings off of 20 calls to me is actually surprising. I expected to get 1 or 2 meetings. So I'll get into my script now so you can see what I read. But again, I really don't think that it's going to continue at that percentage for me, but we'll see. Alright, so I got my script here, and I do interject a little bit into this. I do freeball a little bit, but majority of it I read strictly from there. So I call them up, I say, hey, so to be completely honest, this is a cold call, which I got from Thomas Gunnett, shout out Thomas. Can I have 30 seconds to explain what my agency offers? I also have this here, you can just hang up now if it doesn't sound like something you benefit from, but honestly, I don't even really ever have to read that part. Most of the calls I've done that have gone positively either say no right away here, very few of them, or majority of them say okay and let me continue past this part, right? So then you continue down here and I go, so my name's Noah Brown. I'm a Barrie local. I own an agency that works with med spas and we improve their Google reviews and marketing systems. I've always intended from there to continue this on, but again, I never really get that far. Usually from this point on, they either again start their rejection process, which from here I've noticed has always been either, oh, I already work with an agency, or my husband or grandmother, whatever, does it for me, right? Which then I note them down to follow up with again later. But the ones who have continued from here will then usually be pretty good about allowing me to book a meeting. Some of them have asked me a few more questions about what it is that I do, and I have those answers over here. So it goes, we already do social media with our family. This is what I would read off here. I'd go, that's awesome. A lot of owners we speak with start out this way. It's great that you're aware of the benefits that social media can bring you. If you don't mind me asking, are you currently running paid ads as well? And I'll be honest, from the cold calls I've done, not many of them have made it past here. It's either been pretty good, smooth sailing, almost so that I can't even believe it's going that well, or they're crushing my soul and making me want to, be very sad. So yeah, it's only really gone one of two ways, but again, it circles back to me needing more data over the next 2 weeks to really get this more flushed out. But as I said in my first video on the channel, this whole series is me documenting what I believe is best at the time, putting it out there, trial and error, so that way you guys can learn and see what I'm doing. And it wouldn't be a really great documentary if I go from zero, don't show you anything, and then suddenly 6 months from now I've done it, So whether or not this is good or bad, I'm not trying to pretend that I'm a, med spa marketing expert by any means at this point in terms of me having many clients. I'm been around in the block in many other areas of marketing, but med spa lead gen marketing specifically is new to me, and that's what I'm excited about learning and continuing to really grow and improve on, right? So yeah, that's what I'm doing so far with my script. Now I want to quickly show you my sales slide as well, just to get you guys input on it and just show you a few little pieces from it. So as you'll see here, it says, who is J Digital Solutions, founded by a former influencer, now turned entrepreneur, blah, 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 blah. We then want to make the person I'm in a call with feel like this whole slide is made for them. So I try to call out a few specific services that they likely would be offering. And I also will say, if you're not offering this, we also do X, Y, and Z. There's always a little bit of research that you're going to want to do before any sort of meeting to get the specifics of that person so you can address it in the call, right? You always want to make sure you add that in. But then the next few slides here, which I'll skim over, are just explaining why we want to work with them, and that's because their industry is growing strongly every year and we can believe we can help. How to grow their business, and this is going to go through what exactly we do for them and briefly how we do it, and objective numbers of you will spend 600, you will get 10 bookings, we will add a new marketing force to your team, we'll set up the framework for you to work with and without paid advertising. This paragraph here has actually been reworked for the final version. I didn't have the final version on this computer before filming the video, but essentially the next few slides you'll see are a little lengthy. I've gone through and I've since shortened them a lot because I didn't really like how lengthy they were for a sales setting. But once we get down towards here, again, the whole goal is just really making them feel like I'm knowledgeable in this area, like I have their best interests at heart, and to show them a few examples of what they would expect to work with us. So these are a few little media images I've included for now. They're very early stage images, but I wanted them there to get some sort of nice imagery in their head of what can be made for them. At this stage in the presentation, I'm going to get them to text my number, which is my automation number, and go high level, get them to see what text to pay looks like and a few other go high level things. And from there, just continue closing out the sales slide, right? I'm not going to go through this right now in a slide by slide basis. I feel like that would be something better suited for after I actually go through it with a client a few times and fine tweak it a few times. But again, this video is something I felt like I had to make because it's been a month since I've done my first video and I wanted everybody to know transparently where I'm at. I would like to have had a client by now, a little behind in that area. I would like to have had this a little more well tested by now, a little behind there too. But instead of lying to you about it, I'd rather share what I got, see what you guys think, and then just, be honest in my expectation that I'm going to be doing a lot of cold calls and fine-tuning this and my onboarding as my main focus for the next month. So you can look forward to seeing a few videos on that throughout the month, and I hopefully can improve on this and get some better testing and proof of concept on the ideas that I have. just thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have a new video out in about 8 days or so. Again, everybody who subscribed, you guys mean the world to me. Let's see if we can maybe get to 100 before the next video. That might be a little bit ambitious, but definitely wouldn't doubt it. Let me know what you guys are doing with your SMA in the comment section down below as well. I would love to get in some more discussions with fellow people who are doing similar things. Or if you're just somebody who's watching around these SMA videos, kind of brainstorming and thinking about it, let us know what you're thinking about too. Like, we would be more than happy to talk about it in the comments. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Adios.